broiled salmon in less than 15 minutes with only 4 ingredients, nutritious, delicious, and very easy to make. So here's the recipe. We're going to start out with a piece of salmon. A couple of notes about salmon itself. This salmon was previously frozen. It was caught fresh, frozen immediately. I bought it at the store at a discounted rate, but it was previously frozen. But the thing you want to look for is you want to make sure that the fish doesn't look milky or look a little bit not fresh to the look. And the nose. You really shouldn't have any smell to the fish. That's actually a nice piece of fish. It was probably defrosted this morning and brought here. The thing to recognize about fish is the flavor of fish some people may not like, but there's some main reasons you want to eat fish, and I think it's good to eat fish a few times a week if you can. Main reason being that it's loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. There's really 3 types of fat out there, or 4 if you consider trans fats. But you have saturated fat, which comes from animal products mainly. You have monounsaturated fat that comes from olive oil, almonds, comes from some other nuts and seeds. And ultimately you have polyunsaturated fats. Now, monofats and saturated fats you can produce yourself. Your body can produce those. But polyunsaturated fats is that fat that your body cannot produce. You need to get it from outside sources to be healthy. And the best of the polyunsaturated fats are omega-3s, omega-3 fatty acids. So there's really like different polyunsaturates that are broken up between 3, 6, and 9s. And there may be some other offshoots of that, but 3s are the ones we're talking about. Those are the most important. Fatty fishes are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. There's something in the omega-3s called EPA and DHA. DHA is the important element in there. You know, a majority of your brain cells are actually made of DHA. DHA can be gotten from, from ALAs, which come from like walnuts, from flax oil, different things like that. But the best source, so your body doesn't have to convert it into usable energy or usable fatty acid in your body, is from fish. So with that aside, that's probably the best reason to eat fish. Now, the fatty fish that we're making here is, like I said, is going to be the salmon. This is very, very simple to make. It takes 15 minutes prep time. I've already seasoned this one, but I'm going to show you basically what I'm going to do to season it. I'm just going to take plain sea salt, put it on my fish on the front and back. In this case, I'm going to use a little bit of dill. Fresh is best. I don't have any fresh dill. And I'm going to put a little bit of lime juice on this as well. This other piece that I have with me, I actually put that in a few hours ago and it's been kind of marinating there for a while. This piece I just wanted to do to kind of show you how we're going to actually put this together. And as you can see, very, very simple to put together. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a baking dish and I'm going to put the salmon in the baking dish. You can use olive oil for this. I'm not going to add any extra fat to this. In fact, I feel like we have enough fat with this already. What I will probably do is use a little bit of canola spray to put in the bottom just so it doesn't stick. And I'm going to cut my salmon up into 3 equal parts. Put it skin side down first. And I'm going to put this under the broiler at 500 degrees for approximately 5 minutes before I give it a flip. So it goes in for 5, and I'll be back in 5 minutes to show you what I do when I flip it. Okay, so it's been about 5 or so minutes. I'm going to pull the salmon out of the broiler, out of the oven I should say, have it in a broil setting. What I'm going to do is, if you guys can see, it's already like halfway cooked, looking beautiful. I'm going to put it now skin side up. Come on, buddy. There we go. I'm going to put this back in the broiler for about another 5 minutes or so. So about 5 or 6 minutes have passed since I flipped the fish. And let's take a look at the finished product. And that smells great, by the way. You can't smell and see how that's turned out thus far. But here is the finished product. I'm going to flip it back face up. Now you could char this skin as well to give it a little more color or contrast. I simply just went with how it looks as is. Show a little piece of the fish and see how it turned out. Perfect. What you're looking for consistency wise is a little bit of flakiness at the touch. That's flaking. That's what you're looking for. Just to recap what we have here. This is coho salmon, and I forgot to mention this. You know, you can buy farm-raised fish. I would say I prefer to get wild. There's been a lot of stories in the news saying that farm-raised fish are grown in ponds, that they end up feeding within their own waste, and that the water's not, you know, clean. You know, they say for wild fish, watch don't eat too much due to mercury and other, you know, toxins that could be in the water. I think overall, if you're going for a good deep sea fish, or if you're going for something that's like an Alaskan stream, or somewhere that's in the cold, deep Pacific, you should be okay with that. But I would say overall, I would prefer to eat wild over farm raised from the studies I've read and what I've seen. Also with wild, you're getting more of the element. The real fish is what it would eat in nature. So I believe that it's actually a higher quality fish. Number two, think about when buying fish, make sure it's fresh. So you want to ask your person you're buying the fish from, is this fresh fish? You know, when was it frozen? If it was, when was it thawed out? When was it originally frozen beforehand? So there's actually season for fish too, so a good fish salesperson will probably know what season what fish comes from. It's another thing to consider as well. But overall, just so you know, a piece of this fish is roughly about 4 to 5 ounces, which yields about 30 to 40 grams of protein depending, and about 8 to 12 grams of fat. Out of that, probably half of that is what we talked about, polyunsaturated fat. Polyunsaturated fat, remember, is the fat that your body cannot produce. You have to get it from outside sources, and with omega-3 fatty acids, a large majority of your brain is made up of what's called DHA that comes from the omega-3 fatty acids, and fish are loaded with this. And you know, there's some studies done showing Prozac for depression versus fish oil for depression, and they showed that people taking fish oil had about the same rate of raising their overall well-being from eating fish opposed to taking medication, number one. Number two, it's been proven that by eating fish, you can help facilitate more fat maybe taken out of your body, of your own system. As your body's taking in more polyunsaturated fat, it's releasing the bad fats out of your body. So in some ways, it may help you lose weight as well. So delicious recipe. I hope you guys try this. It's really good, really easy. 15 minutes, 4 ingredients, and you're done lickety spit and ready to eat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and try the recipe. It's very good.